Hey lovies, welcome or welcome back to my channel, Aries only, where I channel messages for Aries only. Today we're doing a reading to check in and see what your guides would most want to say to you. I feel like there's a lot of heavy energies in the collective right now, so I just want to do this little sage here quick for you guys if you need it. Take a breath and let's get started with this reading. We're going to begin with a crystal reading. I have this tiger's eye, and something that I'm feeling from this is that something could have happened to you guys recently that has shaken your confidence. I feel like when I think of the tiger's eye, or what I associate with that, or what that crystal is just associated with in general, is confidence and like action. What am I trying to say? Like almost like masculine energy. But when I think of a tiger is actually associated with feminine energy. So I feel like there's almost a sense of you misconstruing or projecting your confidence out in a way that was maybe a little bit aggressive, when perhaps there could have been like a, not, I'm gonna say better way, but maybe a way that a certain situation called for was to like hold back. Like, okay, so say for instance, you were feeling really good about yourself, so you applied for like a new job and you were like waiting to hear back, and then you got like a little pushy, like, oh, like, hey, like, and called, and like we're like calling a couple times and then like never ended up hearing back. Same with like a relationship or a love interest, could be a similar situation. You kind of like overestimated or overplayed your hand. Not overestimated as in you overestimated yourself, but maybe you thought things were going to go differently, so you felt you had almost like a license to act. I feel like you have been building up your confidence like layer by layer. I feel like you started at the bottom, maybe with like a strong foundation. Also, this could represent you applying for like a program at school or applying for a loan or something. Like you spent a lot of time like building up your finances, and you thought that like you would get it like right away, and maybe you're kind of on the hook waiting still. Maybe it hasn't been a definitive no or yes yet, but you just thought it would be a little bit quicker. And then yeah, I feel like there's some sort of like shadow that's like leaking into your, I would say your solar plexus. There's some sort of issue of like a shadow coming out right now with this black on here, where you thought it was like, you almost felt a little bit like untouchable, and then perhaps something happened to like shake your confidence. So that's what I'm getting right off the bat. So let's go ahead and shuffle these cards and see what Spirit has to say. What do your Spirit guides want to talk to you about, guys? Currently. Okay, so with the 3 of Swords and the 7 of Swords together, that equals the 10 of Swords. That's making me think that you are definitely overthinking a situation that happened. Something that really hurt you and maybe like embarrassed you. Yeah, look how the Queen of Swords is kind of like, or I'm sorry, the Queen of Wands, excuse me, it was kind of like sideways. But we'll leave her upright, but like obviously we all saw her come out that way. And then the Wheel of Fortune. All right, I feel like this is almost like an important lesson for you, and that's something that your guides want to say to you. Let's see, let me go like this. I feel like whatever happened almost could have been, I feel like you maybe like jumped the gun somehow. I'm almost getting a sense that you jumped the gun. You felt that you had something in the bag and you acted on it only to be met with some sort of like disappointment, maybe a rejection, again, of a job, of a loan, of like a romantic interest, like whatever it would be. And I feel like you almost, with the 7 of Swords being here, it's almost like you were trying to act like it didn't bother you or something like that. Like the way that there's like these really intense emotions. I always see this as like this bird looks like angry, like, and almost like this other bird's kind of like surprised at like the velocity of like the emotion of this bird, and this girl is just here. So maybe you just kind of like went quiet, and like your confidence kind of like sapped out of you. It looks like all the color was like leached out of like this imagery here, and she's just like blue, like she's sad. I think it made you feel sad. I think it triggered something in you that perhaps you thought like was over, like you thought maybe it was like something you worked on like with your shadow that you thought was healed. Whereas like, and it doesn't mean that it wasn't healed because you got triggered. I feel like this is about being triggered here. It doesn't mean that you weren't healed and that you haven't done your healing work, and it doesn't like negate all the progress that you've made. But I feel that it was trying to show you that there is still going to be times where these shadowy energies do come up and do threaten your confidence. And I feel like whatever you do to sort of combat that or work with it or heal it or love yourself through it, however you want to deal with that emotion and that process, is really going to help you to be stronger. Because this Queen of Wands didn't come out in reverse. She came out sideways. So I feel like it's like it threw you off your balance, but it didn't necessarily like stop you completely. Okay, and let's see. And then we have the Five of Pentacles as the overall energy that we're leaving here with. So yeah, there is this feeling of insecurity. There is this feeling of maybe reverting back to like a child-like state where maybe you felt these similar feelings of rejection or not being good enough, or where you questioned your value, something like that. Let me put this back here. And let's see what we have here. And I feel like another message coming through, especially if this was like a love situation here. Oh my God. Is because we saw this king of, these two kings here coming out sideways as well. So I feel like that's first of all reiterating the message of like taking like a more passive approach, like a more feminine approach to a situation is best in whatever situation we're talking about here. Having more of like a quiet confidence, but also like if this is pertaining to like a love interest or maybe like an issue with a parent or something, because when we have court cards here, like the Queen and then the two kings, that's making me think of like the different people in your life. So this is representing other people. So I feel like they were sideways as well. So one message I'm getting is that not to judge a book by its cover. Maybe you felt rejected. Maybe this person felt scared and their confidence was kind of wavering as well. So they acted in accordance with that. Another thing is perhaps this person just isn't a good fit for you. Like if this was romantic, this is just a side note, but perhaps this person isn't a good fit for you. And I think another message Spirit is saying is we're done using other people's either opinions of us or rejection of us or treatment of us as a measure of our own self-worth. And I feel like that's something that could have happened here. Although these two kings could refer to bosses, potential employers, like anything like that. Or a guy at the bank that denied your loan. Like it could be anything. It doesn't even have to represent an actual person, because that could have been like an automated, you applied something online. But yeah, so I'm getting that like that's not indicative of your self-worth. And we have to stop letting other people's behaviors, actions, or anything like that really dictate that to ourselves. Like we need to like have that dignity within ourselves. We need to be able to, like what you did, I feel like even if you haven't done it yet, you are going to like, if you're sideways, you're gonna like rate yourself. And this Wheel of Fortune, I believe, is here because I feel like you guys could have been in like on a high lately. Like, you know what I mean? Things could have been going good for you. You could have been in a really good energy, manifesting. You were in this Queen of Wands energy. And then I think there came like a little something happened that like threw you for a loop. And I feel like the way, like I was talking about earlier, the way that you learn how to deal with these setbacks and these disappointments and these rejections, like obviously are going to like equip you with the tools that you need to like move through these setbacks in the future more easily. But I think the message here too is that it's the way that this looks to me, all blue, and then it's like all this color here, almost like a switch flipped, almost like maybe you thought that like your dark days were over or something like that, almost like, okay, now like this fortune's wheel is turning in my favor and everything's going to be like hunky-dory from here on out. And I think Spirit's message, another message is that there's always going to be a setback. There's always, life is never going to be just black and white or blue and orange or whatever color. I mean, this is just dark, light and dark, whatever it is. But I don't know, sad and then happy and exciting. I don't know how you would distinguish these two, but they're two very like different color schemes. But life is never just going to be like we flipped a switch and now everything is good and there's never a setback. Things are always going to be happening that are going to shake your confidence. There's always going to be a hater around. There's always going to be, even especially if you're shining, people being jealous of that. Snakes in the grass let you know that you arrived, like, you know what I mean? So it's like there's going to be people around, there's going to be situations that are going to shake your confidence and make you feel some type of way. But the way that you kind of stay on this wave of good fortune is by seeing it in a more positive way, seeing it as like, okay, like this is happening right now. How can I take this experience and really like squeeze everything I can out of it? It's kind of the way like as a server, as a waitress, like when I'm waiting on a table or if I'm like having a slow night, I'm like, instead of being like, oh, like I'm not going to make any money tonight, like everyone else, not everyone else, but like some of the people that I work with do, I try to be like, okay, let me just like focus on my service. Things are a little bit slower. I can really like give my customers like the service that they deserve, kind of, that you can't sometimes when you're like really busy and like in the weeds. And then, you know, try to squeeze as much money as you can out of them. Like that's all you can do, you know? But like same thing, like when you're going through something that's like a less than desirable experience, like how can you squeeze the most out of this moment? And okay, so like with the Queen of Wands, with the Ace of Wands here, the Ace of Wands, like, you know how like the Ace of Cups can represent self-love, like the Ace of Wands I feel like is representing here like that spark of confidence, and we're seeing it here. It's like there's a candle in here and then there's a candle in here. It's almost like we're done using outside sources as validations of our own confidence. Like we can have that spark, we can create that confidence from within. Even if the candle light does go out, we can relight it. We can grab a lighter and like reignite that spark within us. That was a little bit corny, but I feel like that's like the message I'm getting here with the Ace of Wands, like clarifying the Queen of Wands. It's almost like that not self-love here though, but like self-confidence. I'm really getting like self-confidence, having confidence in yourself. Hey, like if you don't, you know, you're not interested, say you were rejected by a person. It's not like, oh, you missed out, buddy. Like, it's like, that's kind of like a little bit much. Like, you know what I mean? That's a little bit extra and fake. That's kind of like the vibe that we were talking about here, that like maybe got you into the situation in the first place. Not that you brought this on yourself, but maybe that an energy that you might have been in where, again, we really jumped the gun, we're overconfident, we're overacting. But having like that more quiet dignity of like, okay, maybe this person's just not into me, and that's okay. That's okay. Maybe this job, it like, instead of being like, oh, you missed out, like I'm too good for you, it's more like maybe we just weren't a good fit, like neutralizing it, you know, and being like, I'm still a great catch though, like maybe not for this person, but for whoever I'm meant to be, or just even for myself. And if it was a job that rejected you, same thing, you know, maybe it seemed like a great job and the pay would have been great, but maybe there's something there that I can't see. Maybe there's, you know, it really wasn't a good fit for me. Maybe, you know, if your boss, say this person that was interviewing you, just for whatever reason got like a weird vibe from you, like they just felt like they wouldn't like you, which is, I mean, not everyone likes us. Let's just, okay, I know, trigger warning, but like, it's the truth. Like, not everyone's gonna like us, and we don't like everyone either, and it's okay. But maybe like if they had hired you, for an example, they might have had like a little like feeling towards you, and maybe you're going to connect at a job. Maybe the pay will be like a little bit less, but your boss will like love you, and it'll be like a different kind of a vibe there, where it just wouldn't have been the case at this other job. Does that make sense? But I feel like coming down the pike for you, there's this sense of like things changing and more of a sense of permanence being established. But I feel like as of right now, it's almost like we're in this era of exploration and freedom with Fortune's wheel. It's almost like reminding me of like the energy of the Fool, where there's so much potential and anything can happen. And it is an exciting place to be in, but I feel like you guys might be craving like a little bit more certainty and stability here. You might be craving a little bit more control over your own life. And you might feel like with these kings sideways as well, that you don't have control, as much control as you thought over your confidence and your own emotions here. So I think that a way to work with that is to sort of sink into your more feminine energy, sink into your emotions, see what your emotions are trying to tell you, like let the pain sort of like come up. If it is a sting of rejection or a sting of embarrassment or a sting of loneliness or pain or being blue, whatever these two cards are denoting here, like be open to them. I feel like you're trying to almost shut it down. The way that you handled it at first could have been a knee-jerk reaction, like I was saying, like I don't need that job, or like I don't need that person, or like, you know, fuck, like I try to like do everything right and I still can't get a loan, or like I still can't, like I tried to work on my credit for like a year and like I still am getting denied, like just like it's pointless, and like fuck this, like almost like angry, or like an overconfidence of like I'm too good for this, or maybe even like the other way where it was like despair and just like nothing's ever gonna work out for me no matter what I do. Like it's just, I feel like so it's like coming to a place, a more balanced place where you feel like things will work out sometimes they won't. Like some good things have happened lately, but then, you know, this happened as well, and that's okay. I'm going to learn how to work through this and keep myself as steady as I can. And I feel like when you learn how to do that, I feel like things are going to continue to shift for you in a way, like I said, that's more permanent, where you will find a more permanent job, where you will find maybe a more permanent relationship. You might be able to get that loan to buy that house. Like I feel like there's some stability coming in your future, but not only as if this is like a warning, like better watch out or it's not going to happen, but like it's almost as a result of having this more like open-minded, exploratory perspective and excitement for the future, and like openness to just go with the flow and see what happens. If I get knocked down, I'll get back up. It's okay. Maybe I'll cry for a couple nights, but then, you know, I'll be all right, or I'll feel disappointed and then I'll just get back out there kind of feeling. So, okay, let's get some more cards and see what else your spirit guides want to talk to you about. What is the message for my Aries right now? What other guides want to say to them? A time for healing. So maybe you feel a little bit like you've already done your healing and you're a little bit frustrated with this. How much healing can one person do in a lifetime? And I feel like you kind of were under the impression that you reached a breakthrough and maybe the healing was over. And that could also be true. I am seeing like a very big distinction here between two sections of your life, perhaps, or something like that, where things like took a good turn and you started feeling good about yourself. And that is definitely going to continue, but now it's going to continue. And even a way to think about it is like, look at this person and look at this person. When something happens, like remind yourself that maybe that you're not this person, you're not this like little scared child anymore that is like, doesn't know how to handle things. You have learned, you have spent time building a foundation of confidence, of your finances, of your emotional stability. Like you have been working on that. I feel like you have been healing, and now you're this person dealing with it when it comes, you know what I mean? Like, so tell yourself that and be like, these emotions are coming, these disappointments are rolling in, but like, I know how to handle them and it's going to be okay. And that's it. All right. What else do your guides want to say to you? Lemuria, creating heaven on earth. It's happening. It's happening. And it's happening. Here's heaven on earth, but there's some mountain imagery. Do you know what I'm saying? Like you're in heaven, but it's like heaven still has mountains to climb, like in this analogy that I'm using. Like, you know what I mean? It's like there is a beautiful crystal stream, but there, you know, there's like this beautiful pink sunset. I have to climb to the top of the mountain to see it. Like there's still going to be that work that's going to be going on. The bottom of the deck, we have the Age of Light. You've been training for this for lifetimes. I feel like this is your spirit guide's way of acknowledging all the hard work that you have put in, all the healing work that you have done up until this point. And they are saying that that's kind of like reiterating the message of like, you've been training for this, you've been building for this, you have been healing through all these things that have equipped you. Again, this Hierophant looks almost like a magician. I see a cup, I see, I don't know, all these little, it's almost reminding me of like the magician's tools, but they're not using it. So I feel like Spirit's like, no, you have the tool. You're kind of like, you know what to do in this situation. Like, for an example, if you got rejected by a potential job or something like that, and it made you like feel bad about yourself, and then it started making you question your own value, and you just kind of sink into like a depression. This is like depression energy here. You kind of sink into a depression and maybe like didn't take a shower, or like didn't clean your room, or like, you know, just started eating junk food again to like make yourself feel better. Kind of like, because I feel like that could be, I feel like you have built a lot of coping skills, like good and bad. So some of those coping skills, that might be what you need to do. That's based, you know, tier 1 of your healing process. And then tier 2 is like, we get in that shower, we put that laundry in the hamper, like we throw out that garbage, like we clean out that car, like we do a couple little things like that. If we're overthinking about like a person or a job or worrying about the future, instead of like worrying about our money, we start reading a book on investing, or we start, I don't know, like just fixing the things that are causing us anxiety. So as best we can, and then just like basically like letting it go. You know, I did the best I can, and that's all I can offer the world. I can't be perfect. No one's perfect. All right, what else? What other advice do we have here? Door to value. Yeah, I feel like, oh my God, I'm 4th chakra, Archangel Raphael. I feel like if you connect with him, he's coming through to be like, baby girl, like you're worth like $1 million. I see $100 bills flying out. Benjamin Franklin is right there. So that's how I know. It's yeah, I think it's a hundo. But yeah, it's like, this isn't like singles flying out of here. This is like $100 bills. Like, you are worth so much more than you think. Like, your value is inherent and it's within you, and it is not based on outside circumstances. You don't need that to validate you and to make you feel better. Like, and this is the heart chakra. Like, your value is in your heart. And sometimes confidence isn't really connected to the heart in the way that I'm trying to say here, where like, you're like, well, like, I'm still a beautiful person inside. Like, does that really like make you feel better? I don't know. Like, it should. And I think that's what Archangel Raphael is like, listen, like, you know who you are, you know you're a beautiful person, and we need to like remember that. And regardless of if you got that job or not, like, your value is within you. It's like, you have to the door to value, it's inside of you. And you're still, at the end of the day, going to be that beautiful person with that beautiful heart, regardless of what happens, which maybe you don't understand why, but why certain things have to happen, why things can't just like work out. But I feel like they are working out, and this is all part of your process. I feel like this is more of an integration process here, is what I'm getting, where like you're healing by doing. Like, this isn't just like the kind of healing where you're just like sitting and feeling sad. I feel like you have been through a process like that, like a grieving process and some sort of like emotional release process, where you maybe went through like a bad breakup, had some tower moments that led to like this sort of depression and healing journey, or some sort of period of like being withdrawn or isolation. Even if you were like out in the world, you were more so like keeping to yourself and just quieter, moving quieter in the world, kind of. And I feel like now you're kind of expanding out of that, and you're, like I said, you're in this more exploratory phase where you are creating your life in a different way, but you're also having these roadblocks come up, and you're learning how to like push through them in the real world. So this is like a different leg of the journey. It is a part of the healing journey as well, but you have evolved and you have made progress. So what else? Oh, soulmates. Okay. So I feel like also a message that I'm getting here is that you could just feel very like disappointed about your love life. You could feel that there's really nobody out there that is going to like understand you. And I feel like when I think of soulmates, I think of, it's kind of like what we were talking about, where like that value is inherently within your own heart. And when you meet a soulmate, because maybe if your confidence was discouraged and if this isn't a love way, maybe you feel like, oh, this person doesn't want me because I'm not good enough or something like that. But it's like, if it's truly your soulmate, soul family type of person, and this goes for friends, this goes for, you know, romantic relationships and all those kinds of things. But like, it's not going to matter. Those outside things aren't going to matter. So if somebody maybe couldn't see your value, maybe they didn't have like the soul recognition abilities. I don't know what you would call that. But do you know what I'm saying? Like the soul cognizance, I just wanted to say, to really be able to see that to begin with, like within you. You know what I mean? Maybe they didn't have the capacity. Oh, why are these in reverse? Reverse is just the top one. Hold on. No, it's just the top one. Oh, what else? Oh, okay, we're not going to take that, but we're just going to look at it quick. Service and imagination. So what is the advice? What does Aries guides want to say to them right now? Abundance. I am a limitless being, and I can manifest whatever I desire in this physical reality. So I feel like you have been feeling very discouraged with this abundance card coming through with this soulmates card. I feel like this is a message of like money, love, abundance in any form that you want. This almost looks more spiritual to me. It's reminding me of having like your own business or like creating your own practice or something like that. I feel like Spirit is like, you can have all this. Like, hello. I'm seeing a lot of like number 10s, even though it's 31 and 41. So I'm thinking of like 10 in between them. And then this is a number 10. So I feel like you have like completed like a whole cycle. And I feel like you're here, but you want to be here. And I feel like this is just part of the process. Is another thing that I'm getting. It's the wheel, like I said, is still spinning. So just get comfortable with like going with the flow. If there's a roadblock or if there's like a limitation or a door isn't opening, like, okay, and just pivot and deal with that emotion accordingly and then keep it moving. Like, then that's probably not for you. Because I feel like when it's really your soulmate, just like when something's meant to be, it's meant to be, and like nothing can really stop it. So spend like less time worrying and like more time maybe like praying or asking for guidance or trying to like be of service to others. We had that service energy come out. Try to like use your imagination for good instead of like anxiety. Easier said than done, of course, but if you can. And let's see what else. Let's get some specific messages from your guides with this deck that I absolutely love. What does Aries guide? What do Aries guides want to say to them right now? Keep moving forward, even if you are unsure of your next step or where it may take you. Trust that you are walking the path you are meant to walk. Remember, we are walking it with you. Trust yourself more. Okay. What else for Aries? But yeah, I feel like you have regressed or something. I feel like Spirit's like, no, you haven't. Like you're doing fine. Even I'm noticing the numbers 3, 7, 10. So I feel like there is the energy of progression. Even here, there's Kings, Ace 5, 31, 41. All the numbers are like moving forward. I feel like you are in alignment and you are moving forward, but these things are just throwing you for a loop, but just deal with them as they come and don't give them more power. Don't let them have more power over you than they need to. It's just something that's showing you something. Whatever you have been putting off, don't procrastinate any longer. Tackle that long overdue project. You will feel better once you begin. Start with one thing at a time. Thoughts and ideas not acted upon are just laying in wait. You can do this. So maybe something that I'm getting is if you have some sort of idea. Oh, look at this. Like you have some sort of idea maybe for some project, but say like you just were like, I can't do that. So you tried to do like something easier. Like maybe you had an idea to like start a new business or something like I was talking about over here, but you were like, no, that's not going to happen. So then you applied for a job. And see how this says, when a door doesn't open, don't waste your energy trying to make it open. It's closed for a reason. You are being redirected to something far bigger and better. Endings are part of the cycle of life. They make way for wonderful new beginnings and opportunities. I'm keeping that because I feel like that's like a big message of this reading. So let's see what else. But yeah, like maybe a door is not opening because there's something better. And it's like hard to like believe that when it's something that you want, but I feel like that is the case sometimes. Okay. Instead of pushing yourself so hard, stop, breathe, and reevaluate. You are doing enough, even if it doesn't feel like it. Don't wear yourself out to the point of exhaustion. It is not worth it. Balance your time more wisely. And then we have, you are feeling somewhat confused by the events that are unfolding around you and the various seemingly contradictory information that is coming your way. Trust your instincts and do what they are telling you to do, and you will learn a lot about yourself and the direction you want your life to take. I like that because I feel like that's kind of the vibe here. Like, you felt like things were going good and then it just like went in a different direction. There's heaven on earth, but there's mountains. It's like confidence, but it's in reverse. Like, it's what's going on here. Like, you know what I mean? It's like fire and water, like opposites. It's like holding the tension of opposites, which can be tricky and can make you question yourself. But instead of like driving yourself crazy and worrying, just sort of like center yourself, allow those worries to fall away, and be like, let's just see what happens. Life, okay. So, all right, guys, I think we're going to leave it there. Thanks so much for watching. Hope you enjoyed this reading. If you did, please like, comment, and subscribe to my channel, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Bye.